we get access to not just what is visible from the LLMs on a PDP, but more importantly, we can see how all the sales and returns data. So we know how people are buying certain items. We know that people are buying this Nike running shoe one way, this other style, they're tending to buy a bigger size. And so that's really the unlock, is that we have all these TrueFit profiles connected to all of these real life transactions that we're building a fit graph around.
Welcome to the Retail Agentic podcast, where we explore the intersection of retail, e-commerce, and AI agents, which we call Retail Agentic. Our mission is simple. We are shining a bright light on the new agentic AI shopping megatrend, which will disrupt the trillion-dollar digital retail market. The stakes are high. Google, OpenAI, Microsoft, Perplexity, Amazon, Apple, Meta, and Anthropic are all fighting to be the consumer AI shopping agent winner. There are going to be some tough decisions for online brands and retailers to make. What happens to checkout? How should payments work? Should you continue to invest in retail media networks? What does the world look like when over half of your traffic is not from humans, but from AI agents? These existential questions are the tip of the iceberg. On this podcast, we're talking to industry experts, analysts, and influencers to get answers to these questions, identify trends, and best practices. This is Retail Agentic, your podcast partner in navigating our AI shopping agent future. And now here's your host, Scott Wingo.
Welcome to this special breaking news episode of Retail Agentic. Today on the pod, I'm excited to welcome Jessica Murphy, founder and CEO of TrueFit. Jessica started TrueFit 20 years ago in 2006 to solve the fit and return problem that dominates the apparel category of e-commerce. Today, she joins the pod to share some special news that's coming out of TrueFit. I don't want to reveal the secret, but I will give you a big hint. This is the Retail Agentic podcast, and we talk a lot about agentic commerce. So that should give you a pretty good clue of what's coming up. After talking about their big news at TrueFit, Jessica shares a little bit more about her background and what inspired her to found the company, the capital they've raised, a little bit about her journey there, and we'll also talk about what's coming up at some trade shows. So I hope you enjoy this conversation and news coming out of TrueFit. A lot of really interesting innovations happening all across the categories here in the land of agentic commerce, and this is another great example. Jessica Murphy, CEO and founder of TrueFit. Welcome to Retail Agentic.
Thank you, Scott, for having me. Happy to be here.
Yeah, usually we start with background and then we talk about what you're up to. But because this is a big news day for you guys, I thought we would start with the news and then we'll kind of flip the script. So let's start with your big news that you're announcing today. Walk us through what TrueFit is doing and why the heck are you on an agentic commerce podcast?
I love this question. Thank you for the opportunity. So we are announcing that we will be releasing our first ever specialized agent for size and fit. So many people may know us as the little widget that sits on websites below the size tiles that helps you know what size to buy, how things will fit you. And we're transforming that into a really dynamic specialized agent that focuses on the key question that people ask when they're buying fashion. What size will fit me? How will this work for me? And so about 70% of the questions that are coming into agents in the fashion category are related to size and fit in some way, shape, or form. So this is a really exciting time for us. We've been around for quite some time, but has never been a more exciting time as a builder of technology than now, I'd say, in terms of what the opportunity that's opened up to us.
Yeah, has this always been your vision to have a more consumer-facing version of what you do, or just AI unlocked it kind of magically for you?
Yeah, so we've always been B2B2C. So we our customers are the retailers, but we build consumer-facing technology. The difference is that it's always been static. So we, have this widget that asks one call to action that's supposed to work for 100% of traffic. And then, it engages with you there. And then you get a static answer. Where agentic is really coming in is that it doesn't end with what size should I buy? That's really only the beginning. What size should I buy? From there, it's all the fun questions that one has when they're shopping. Is this going to be comfortable for me? Is it going to be flattering on my body? And it goes on. And so this really gives us a launch pad to really take it further and guide a shopper the way that you would if you're going into a store and having a really expert salesperson helping you navigate your purchase.
I have a big affinity for this because in my day job, we help people with agentic commerce optimization, and people confuse that with AEO, GEO. And invariably, they'll try AEO, GEO, and then they come back to us and say, we tried that, and it was super not actionable because all we found was people on Reddit and whatnot complain about size and fit. And I was like, yeah, it's like, this is a challenge already, and there's solutions out there like TrueFit, and sentiment analysis like not super actionable other than telling you kind of already what you've known in e-commerce forever. Talk a little bit about that problem. I know you probably have up to date return stats, but return has always been the hardest part about, especially fashion and apparel on e-commerce.
Yeah, and it's a little bit about my background, but I come from the merchant industry. And so that was before e-commerce even existed. That was people walking into a store, buying something, and then bringing it home, trying it on. And even then, return rates were as high as 20, 25%, even for people buying things online, in store. And then as we've moved really in the online world, that is upwards of over 50% for some categories like dresses and denim, like really hard to fit categories. And then factor in the Amazon effect of the at-home try-on. Amazon has trained an entire industry that it's okay to order a bunch of things, get them home, try them on, and return whatever doesn't work for you. And that's created a lot of seamless buying, which is great, but it also has contributed to this massive problem. And so we do already with our existing technology do help reduce fit-related returns. And I think in an agentic experience, we have a real opportunity to reduce that further, really to get into those more nuanced size and fit questions that we just talked about.
Let's drill in on it. So, so I am looking for a new pair of shoes or whatever, and I fire up your new agent. Walk me through the user experience that you're envisioning this agent will deliver.
The first thing that you'll encounter is most people often have generic questions about fit. How is this product running? So the first thing that you'll encounter is that TrueFit has very specialized understanding of size and fit. And that's coming from direct data integrations with our partners. So we get access to not just what is visible from the LLMs on a PDP, but more importantly, we can see how all the sales and returns data. So we know how people are buying certain items. We know that people are buying this Nike running shoe one way, this other style, they're tending to buy a bigger size. And so that's really the unlock, is that we have all these TrueFit profiles connected to all of these real life transactions that we're building a fit graph around. And so we can answer both generalized questions, and then TrueFit has a concept of a fit passport. So it's, you create kind of a profile once, and in an agentic experience, you don't have to fill out a form anymore, which is the old TrueFit experience, but instead you start just talking. I'm short. I have short legs. I'm 5'2". Are the jeans going to be too long for me? That's a practical use case that you didn't give it a lot of information, but you start to build that profile. In the old world, it was a more static experience. And so now it's really just more seamless, and we're giving information to the shopper as they need it. We're not going to give you everything that we know about that product, but we're really going to hold your hand through that purchase and answer the questions that you have. Maybe it's a fabric related question, because that actually completely changes how somebody thinks it fits on them. But maybe it's a measurement related question. And so it really is a launch pad to really have these more nuanced discussions around size and fit.
So I find those pair of jeans that I know is going to be a great fit for me. Do I transact in your shopping agent, or do you then take me over to the retailer to complete the transaction?
Yeah, so the retailer still owns the transaction exclusively, just like they do today. We are in conversations with our existing partners about putting a checkout button within our agents to make it even more seamless. The first iteration will not have the checkout button because obviously that's, we want to get that right. We want to work alongside our partners, but transactions will always happen via the agent or the retailer site.
Yeah, the good news is when you're ready to add that checkout button, I think our two competing standards of ACP and UCP will be developed enough. You could just kind of hook into that as another. You could kind of almost have a matrix of this retailer's with this one, or if they're both pick the one best for you. So it's almost like where the horizontal agents are building out all this infrastructure that a vertical agent like yours can latch onto and add a different take on.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think the real opportunity that we see with our specialized agent is that the standard LLMs, the standard generic agents that are being built really only have access to generic data that exists on a PDP. And that's, or, they're, of course, they're mining Reddit and some other sites just to see what people are saying. Is there enough understanding about a specific product? Where it gets complicated is that these styles change every day. The fit changes all the time. The collections change all the time. And then you're trying to do that for millions of people on demand that have different preferences. And so that's where you start to see the generic agents break down because they just don't know enough about the product. Sometimes they have stale information. So for example, they might see only a subset of reviews that the LLMs were trained on, or the agents via the LLMs were trained on, but they don't have access to real dynamic information that's updating in real time.
Yeah, I think that proprietary information is amazing. I was watching an Andreessen Horowitz video about what do competitive moats look like in today's world with AI just leveling the field so fast. And the answer is proprietary data. So that access that you have to that return data from your partners and that extra information about the products that's a huge. It's the way to solve this problem. So that's obviously why you have it. But it gives you a huge competitive advantage that no one else has that data.
Yeah, and the real expertise that we have is really in structuring that data. So it's structuring it, cleaning it, because believe it or not, even size charts, things that people use every day in and day out, have a lot of errors in them because they're oftentimes manually created. So we have to do a lot of cleaning of that data even before we can render a recommendation to a person. And so the structuring of that data is really, I think, the key value prop that we have. And then lastly, prioritizing that data. What data actually matters for answering the question when it comes to size and fit?
I have spent 30 years, digesting data from brands and retailers and then cleaning it up. So
so you really understand the unsexy world of data structuring.
I could go on and on for hours about taxonomies and canonicalization, my favorite two topics.
I have a lot to say about that, Scott.
But it would just be you and I on the pod. We'll do that over coffee sometime at a trade show. There's this really interesting battle going on, kind of forming, and you have this kind of Cambrian explosion of these like really vertical type solutions. Yours is fit, so obviously you're going to really be focusing on clothing, shoes, maybe a little bit of accessories, kind of that type vertical. Maybe even like, do you guys get into sporting goods, like a pair of Nike shoes for if it's a shoe, right?
Yes, all size accessories. We are actually now beginning to get into hard goods as well.
Yeah. Okay. So that's kind of like your vertical, if you will, and then versus the horizontals. How do you think about this vertical versus horizontal? The ChatGPT has the edge, the distribution advantage by having so many users. How do you, as a vertical solution, kind of counteract that?
Yeah, so we really see it as an accelerator to the horizontal solutions because one of the things that we're releasing and announcing today as well is our model context protocol. And so while we will have an agent that, and a vertical agent that our customers can consume, we feel like our plugging into our data layer is an accelerant to the more horizontal, broader agents and solutions that are on the market. And that will become, especially for our bigger retailers, the super agents of record doing, handling a multitude of different jobs for websites.
So I could be using OpenAI or Claude and have it narrowed down to 3 items, and then MCP over to TrueFit and say, "Hey, TrueFit, help me out. Which of these about my would my passport be portable in this whole thing? I imagine so.
So that's actually one of the places where we've invested the most time is to really make sure that the LLM can understand the TrueFit ID and recognize that TrueFit knows this person. So we're going to start personalizing right away, or they don't know this person. And so we're going to ask some kind of just basic questions so that we can get to an answer, or we're going to just surface its product information. And so it gives the more horizontal LLMs the opportunity to really plug into that, either product understanding or user understanding for the benefit of deeper levels of personalization.
So in a way, you're hedging. You've got your vertical, but then the horizontal, you can also MCP in. I can
Exactly.
lifeline my TrueFit MCP, and you've got my passport stored down there, and you can say, oh, for the three things you're looking at, we think this is going to be the best fit, or watch out on this one, you may want to go up a size because that's going to be kind of perfect for you. Okay.
Yeah, so I think there's a lot of opportunity both on, bottom of funnel, which is just, closing the deal around, yeah, this is going to be great for you, and here's the size that you should buy. But even top of funnel, to your point, and I think this is what you were alluding to, just the stack ranking of products. Because when you go to a website, there's sometimes hundreds of options that you have to choose from. If you're looking for a dark pair of jeans, sometimes you're looking at hundreds of dark pair of jeans. Where do I start? How do I know? And so one of the things that we can do really well is to narrow down that selection for a user, just to focus on the ones that are going to have the highest likelihood of being kept.
Another thing, we have a lot of payments people on the podcast, and they're seeing a lot of agent builders like you guys out there. Do you see the MCP server being used by other agent builders? Like, so we have Daydream is like kind of one of the what more well known in our space, and also in the vertical. Is that something that you guys would use that for as well?
Yeah. So right now we're in discussions with both major LLMs as well as agent builders, more in the MarTech and CDP space to leverage our MCP. And so tests are going to begin on those two kind of segments of the market pretty over the next couple of weeks, which we're really excited about.
And then, so if people are sitting there like, oh my God, this solves all my problems, where can they go to learn more, and when will it be available?
So they can go to TrueFit.com to learn more, and they will find all the different ways to get in touch with us. And it will be available in March to select partners. As I mentioned, select partners are beginning testing over the next couple of weeks.
Any ETA on general availability, or going to wait and see?
April for general availability is the current target.
How long have y'all been building on this?
For about a year now.
Awesome.
Yeah, and it's just really an exciting time. I mean, it's, for somebody like us that we've been around for so long, to be energized in this way, and really it's forced us to rebuild our entire company for this future, but one that we think has an incredible amount of potential for this industry that we're really excited about.
There's a lot of industry insiders on here. If we happen to be going to Shop Talk and swing by your booth, can we see a demo of this, you think, at Shop Talk? Seems like the timing would be such that hopefully we'll be able to see something.
We will definitely see you at Shop Talk, and hopefully we will have a case study that we can share with you and be talking about.
We want Jessica on screen with the little mic and everything walking us through the demo.
We would love that.
Cool. And then tell me a little bit. So 20 years ago, so you mentioned you were a merchant. Walk me through your founder's journey and what inspired you to start the company.
Yeah, so I am a former merchant. So I spent right out of kind of undergrad, I spent my days making purchasing decisions for a major retailer. And back in those days, that included merchandising allocation, markdown optimization, all the things, and then left to go to business school, and there met up with the other co-founder of TrueFit, Romney Evans, and he was sharing kind of a shopping experience that his wife had, where she ended up in tears, and she's this petite little thing that you would never expect would have problems with size and fit. And for me, it was like, yeah, of course, this is everybody on earth that has to put on clothes has some issues that they're dealing with, whether it's wide feet or short legs or long arms. We all have our things, and it was, I was never a technologist, so I kind of had no business starting a technology company, but I cared enough about the problem and ultimately the solution. This, how do we take the world's data around size and fit and really leverage it to solve this friction point for shoppers, which is the number one issue that people have when they're shopping this category. And so that got me super excited 20 years ago, and is still the thing that drives us. I think what keeps us going is really the changes in technology that we're seeing, and the new ways that we can solve this problem to even reduce more friction than we ever have with an agentic commerce experience.
When I was doing research for the call, I went over to, I can't remember if it was PitchBook or Crunchbase, one of those, and I was pleasantly surprised to see you guys have raised well over $100 million. Walk me through How did you convince VCs that this was a thing? This seems like one of those, Shark Tanky. I'm imagining Shark Tank, and the women totally get it. The guys are like, "What? I just always buy the same pair of jeans." What do you have, like those type of stories, or were more guys like your co-founder, like my wife would? I totally understand this because this is a problem for us.
Yeah, I mean, I have to tell you that raising money, particularly in the early days, was not easy. Walking into boardrooms full of men that just kind of shook their head and really didn't get it. And it was the investors that really understood that this is a data problem, first and foremost, that ultimately took a chance on us and decided to invest because it very much is a data problem. It's not a fashion problem. It's around how do you connect people to products and how do you do that with data at scale. And so those are the people that took chances on us along the way, and a lot of no's to get to the couple yeses that we got. Like most, actually not most. Everybody has their story. Some people are overnight successes. We weren't one of those.
It's never been easy for me. Yeah, I'm on number 5, and it's still hard. I'm not doing it right. I think it's just the movies that make it look easy. You just like Social Network. You just write a funny formula on the glass wall, and people throw money at you. Yeah, that hasn't happened to me. Give us an idea. So you've been at it 20 years. You've raised over $100 million. Give us an idea for the scale of TrueFit.
Yeah. So we today we service over 80 million active users that kind of are interacting with our technology across different websites and getting personal recommendations. We've trained on hundreds of millions of profiles through the years. We cover close to 100,000 brands now that we can make recommendations on. And we work directly with about 500 retailers across all different segments and across the globe as well.
Yeah, I was going to ask if you're international. Do you have international offices yet? And that's always a joy.
Yeah, so we're a fully remote company actually now. We used to have offices in the UK, in Mumbai, and in Boston, where our global headquarters. But we went fully remote after COVID and never came back. I am a mother of 3. Many of our employees are also working parents, and it's kind of an arrangement that's worked really well for our company, which I actually am really proud of, that we've been able to stay that way. But going back to the global piece, I think it's really relevant here because the data normalization component of fit becomes infinitely more complicated when you're crossing borders. Like, what does a size mean in Italy versus the UK versus Australia versus Japan? I mean, it gets really complicated. And so we're very much a translation engine across all of those different forms of understanding. And that's part of the value that we add as well.
Any plans you want to share about the company? You guys are, been at it a while. Any IPO, looking at M&A? What are you thinking? Are you just happy solving the world sizing problems?
Oh, Scott, if I told you that, I'd reveal all my secrets.
Okay. All right. Once you take VC money, like one of those things has to be on the table. So we know it's got to be one of those two.
There's always a clock that
failure is not an option. So there you go. So.
Yeah, there's always a clock you're watching when you take venture capital.
Well, really appreciate you coming on. If folks want to learn more about TrueFit or your journey, are you big on Twitter, LinkedIn? Do you have a corporate blog where you share your thoughts?
LinkedIn is a great place to go. And as well, our corporate website kind of fans out to all the different places where you can find us.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming on. Congrats on embracing agentic commerce. And I will see you at Shop Talk. We'll stop by the booth, and I definitely want to see a demo.
We sure will. Thanks. And I'm so glad to finally meet you.
You as well.
Take care.
Follow, rate, and share to stay up to date with Retailgenic, your guide to the future of AI shopping agents.